Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if the universe itself was whispering something deeply personal to you? It's not just your imagination. The cosmos holds countless mysteries, but some of the most astonishing aren't about distant galaxies or alien worlds, they're about us. The way a nebula's delicate filaments resemble the branching veins in your hand, or how the explosive birth of a star mirrors the fiery energy of human creation. These aren't just poetic coincidences, they're cosmic connections, threads woven into the fabric of reality that tie the vastness of space to the intimate details of our existence. Think about the last time you felt truly small under that infinite blanket of stars. That humility, that awe, it's not just emotion. Science is revealing how the patterns we see out there are eerily similar to the ones within us. The same spirals found in hurricanes and galaxies appear in the way your hair grows. The rhythmic pulses of distant quasars beat in time with the cadence of your breath. Even the way information travels through the universe's vast neural networks, yes, the cosmos has those two echoes, the electrical dances inside your brain. It's as if the universe built us in its image, or perhaps we've built our understanding of it through the only lens we have, ourselves. So why does this matter? Because every time we uncover one of these cosmic mirrors, we're not just learning about space, we're learning what it means to be human. This video is a journey through 30 of the most breathtaking parallels between the universe and our own lives, from the fractal beauty of snowflakes and supernovas to the way black holes and human hearts both bend time around them. By the end, you'll see the night sky differently, not as something separate from you, but as a reflection, a reminder that you're made of the same stardust that lights up the heavens. Ready to discover how the cosmos holds up a mirror to your very existence? Let's begin. The universe doesn't just resemble a brain, it practically mirrors one. Picture this: billions of galaxies stretching across the cosmos, connected by glowing filaments of gas and dark matter, forming an intricate, web-like structure. Now zoom way in to the human brain, where neurons branch and intertwine in nearly identical patterns. It's more than coincidence, it's a cosmic echo. Astrophysicists and neuroscientists have compared these structures side by side, and the similarities are uncanny. Both systems organize themselves into nodes and pathways, with dense clusters, whether galaxies or brain cells, linked by delicate threads. Even the mathematical models used to describe them overlap, suggesting the same fundamental rules might govern growth at both scales. What's truly mind-bending is how these patterns emerge. Galaxies form clusters along the cosmic web's filaments, drawn together by gravity over eons. In your brain, neurons strengthen connections through electrical impulses, shaping thoughts and memories. Both systems optimize for efficiency, creating shortcuts between major hubs. A study published in the journal Nature even found that the universe's large-scale structure and a mouse's neural network share comparable levels of complexity when analyzed computationally. It's as if the cosmos is whispering a secret. Complexity, whether in stars or synapses, follows a universal recipe. Could this mean the universe itself has a kind of mind? While that might sound like science fiction, some theorists propose that consciousness isn't confined to biology. It might be a fundamental property of reality, woven into the fabric of space-time. The physicist Carl Sagan once mused that the cosmos is a way for the universe to know itself, and modern research seems to inch closer to that poetic idea. Whether you see this as profound symmetry or mere mathematical curiosity, one thing's certain: the boundary between out there and in here is far blurrier than we ever imagined. A newborn star glowing in the cradle of its nebula, burns with the same restless energy as a child taking its first breath. Both begin as raw potential, a swirling cloud of gas and dust, a bundle of cells before collapsing under their own gravity into something brilliant and alive. For stars, that ignition comes from nuclear fusion. For us, it's the spark of consciousness. And just as stars settle into their longest phase, burning steadily for billions of years, humans enter adulthood, where the fire of youth matures into the sustained glow of purpose. But time touches everything. A middle-aged star, like a middle-aged person, starts to show the weight of its years. Hydrogen fuel dwindles, and the star begins to fuse heavier elements, just as we accumulate the heavier truths of experience, loss, resilience, transformation. The star swells into a red giant, its outer layers stretching outward like the expanding wisdom of a life well lived. And here's where the parallels grow even more striking. Some stars shed their outer layers gently, creating radiant planetary nebulae, cosmic fingerprints that linger long after the star's core fades to embers. Isn't that what we hope for? To leave behind something beautiful, something that outlasts us? Then there are the stars that refuse to go quietly. Massive stars die in supernovas, cataclysmic explosions that seed the universe with the very elements that make life possible. Carbon, oxygen, iron, the building blocks of planets, oceans, and yes, your bones. In their final moments, these stars become alchemists, transforming destruction into creation. It's a violent, glorious metaphor for human legacy. Some lives, like some stars, end in ways that reshape everything around them, scattering stardust futures they'll never see. What's haunting is the timeline. The oldest stars we've observed lived for billions of years, while humans measure their time in decades. Yet both are bound by the same cosmic rhythm, a beginning, a middle, and an end that's really just another kind of beginning. When we look at a star's life cycle, we're not just studying astrophysics, we're reading a mirror, our mortality written in the sky. Black holes aren't just cosmic vacuum cleaners, they're mirrors of our deepest emotional struggles. Picture the event horizon, that invisible boundary where gravity becomes so strong even light can't escape. Now think of the moments in life when sadness or loss pulls you under, when the weight of grief makes it feel impossible to breathe, let alone see a way out. The parallel is chilling. Just as matter crossing a black hole's threshold stretches and distorts in what physicists call spaghettification, emotional pain can twist our sense of time, making minutes feel like hours, joy feel like a distant memory. But here's where the metaphor turns hopeful. Black holes aren't the end of the story. Thanks to Stephen Hawking's groundbreaking work, we know these cosmic voids slowly leak energy, tiny particles escaping over eons, a whisper of light in the darkness. Hawking radiation proves that even the most oppressive forces in the universe can't enforce perfect isolation. And isn't that true for us too? The moments when we feel most trapped by heartbreak, by failure, often contain the seeds of our resilience. A friend's unexpected call, a sunrise that catches you off guard, the way time softens even the sharpest edges of pain. These are our human versions of Hawking radiation, reminders that no emotional gravity is strong enough to crush us completely. Consider, too, what happens to the material a black hole consumes. It doesn't vanish, it becomes part of the hole's mass, fueling its growth. In the same way, our hardest experiences reshape us, adding depth to who we are. The loneliness you survived, the loss you carried, they're not erased. They're woven into your gravity, your strength. Astronomers study black holes to understand the universe's most extreme environments, but perhaps they're also teaching us something about endurance. After all, the Milky Way's supermassive black hole hasn't stopped stars from forming all around it. Light still finds a way, and then there's the most startling parallel of all. black holes eventually evaporate. Over trillions of years, through that slow trickle of Hawking radiation, even the mightiest black hole will fade. It's a cosmic lesson in impermanence. The things that feel all-consuming now, the heartache, the fear, they too have an expiration date. Not because time erases their significance, but because we, like the universe, are built to evolve. So the next time you look up at the constellation Cygnus, home to one of the closest known black holes, remember, you're staring at both a warning and a promise. Yes, some forces in life are inescapably heavy, but nothing, not even a black hole, gets the final word. The planets move with a precision that would make the most meticulous clockmaker envious Mercury's rapid dance around the Sun, Saturn's stately 30-year orbit, Earth's dependable yearly lap. These aren't just mechanical motions, they're the universe's heartbeat, a rhythm so reliable we've built our lives around it. Sunrise and sunset, the push and pull of tides, the slow turn of seasons, all orchestrated by celestial bodies millions of miles away. But here's the wonder, these cosmic cycles don't just govern nature, they're written into our very biology. Your body knows when to wake before the alarm rings, when to crave citrus in winter and watermelon in summer. The same gravitational forces that keep planets in line also shape the ebb and flow of your energy, your creativity, even your moods. Yet for all their predictability, planetary orbits aren't perfect circles. They're ellipses stretched and squashed by the tug of neighboring worlds. Their paths a delicate negotiation between chaos and order. Jupiter's gravity yanks Mars off course. Passing comets leave gravitational fingerprints. Sound familiar? It's the same push and pull we navigate daily. You plan your week only for a surprise call to upend it. You commit to a routine, then stumble into a moment of unplanned joy. The cosmos teaches us that rhythm isn't about rigidity, it's about resilience. The planets don't fight their wobbles, they adapt, finding new equilibrium. Maybe that's the lesson hidden in their paths. Structure isn't a cage, but a scaffold, strong enough to hold us but flexible enough to let life happen. Consider how ancient cultures thrived by harmonizing with these cycles. The Maya tracked Venus to precision, planting crops by its appearance. Polynesian navigators read star paths like road maps. They didn't just observe the cosmos, they conversed with it, letting celestial patterns guide their decisions without surrendering to fatalism. There's wisdom in that balance, a reminder that planning and spontaneity aren't enemies but partners. The moon controls the tides, yet every wave is unique. Your heartbeat follows a rhythm but quickens when you laugh or love. Cosmic order isn't monotony, it's the foundation that makes improvisation possible. So what happens when we ignore these rhythms? Modern life often tries to override them. Artificial light hijacks our sleep. All season produce dulls our connection to the earth. But the universe gently insists, jet lag is your cells rebelling against misplaced time. Seasonal depression is biology mourning the lost sun. We're not machines to be optimized, we're organisms shaped by a rhythmic cosmos. The planets whisper a truth we're only now rediscovering. Productivity isn't about grinding against nature's tempo, but flowing with it. After all, even the mighty sun has its cycles flaring and quieting in an 11-year cadence. If something that powerful honors its own rhythm, why shouldn't we? Perhaps the most poetic parallel lies in the outliers. Uranus spins on its side, a cosmic rebel with a tilted axis that creates decades-long seasons. Yet it still orbits, still belongs. That's the final gift of celestial rhythms. They make room for the unconventional. Your life doesn't have to look like anyone else's to be in sync with the universe. The stars aren't judging your pace, they're just reminding you that motion, in all its forms, is sacred. So tonight, step outside. Watch Jupiter rise right on schedule. Feel the ancient reassurance that some things endure even as they change. Then go live your beautifully imperfect orbit. There's a reason supernovae captivate us, not just for their brilliance, but for their paradox. A star's death becomes the universe's rebirth. When a massive star exhausts its fuel, it doesn't fade quietly. It detonates with the energy of a billion suns, hurling its guts across light years. In that cataclysm, something miraculous happens. The intense heat and pressure forge heavy elements like gold, uranium, even the calcium in your bones. Without these explosions, life as we know it wouldn't exist. Earth would just be a sterile rock. But here's the cosmic twist. The very violence that destroys the star seeds the galaxy with possibility. Now turn that lens inward. Think of the moments when your own life has imploded, a job lost, a relationship shattered, a dream dismantled. In the aftermath, it's easy to see only rubble. But like a supernova, you're scattering fragments of your old self into the void, and those fragments aren't wasted. They're raw materials. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth, the way adversity can rewire us, leaving us more resilient, more empathetic, more alive than before. The breakup that taught you how to love yourself, the failure that redirected your path towards something truer, these aren't just silver linings, they're evidence of a universal truth. Destruction and creation are two sides of the same coin. Consider the Veil Nebula, a sprawling tapestry of gas and dust visible through telescopes. What you're seeing is the wreckage of a star that exploded thousands of years ago, yet its beauty now inspires awe. Art, music, even entire philosophies have been born from human pain transformed. The poet Rumi wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you," echoing what astronomers see in the cosmos. Rupture becomes revelation. Supernova don't just distribute elements, they trigger star formation, compressing nearby gas clouds until new suns ignite. Your lowest moments can do the same, jolting you out of inertia, compressing your resolve until something new takes shape. Timing matters too. A supernova's elements drift for eons before coalescing into planets. Similarly, growth isn't always immediate. You might not recognize the gifts of a crisis until years later, when you trace the thread backward and realize how that loss led you here. The universe isn't in a hurry, and neither are you. Here's the final comfort: supernovae are rare. Only the most massive stars die this way. The rest fade gently, leaving no legacy beyond warmth. If you've endured seasons of upheaval, it's because you're built for it. Like those giant stars, you contain the raw materials for reinvention. So the next time you feel like you're exploding, remember, you're not falling apart. You're scattering stardust for a future you can't yet see. Dark matter doesn't just hide in the cosmos, it lives inside you. Think about the last time you made a split-second decision, felt an unexplained pull toward someone, or woke from a dream that lingered like a shadow. These aren't random glitches, they're whispers from your own psychological dark matter, the subconscious forces that shape your choices without your awareness. Just as dark matter's gravity holds galaxies together despite being invisible, your hidden thoughts and memories silently steer the course of your life. Scientists know dark matter exists because they can see its gravitational fingerprint, stars orbiting too fast at galaxy edges, light bending around empty space. Your subconscious leaves similar clues. Ever notice how you instinctively avoid certain streets, or why a stranger's laugh suddenly reminds you of childhood? These are gravity wells in your mind, invisible patterns bending your behavior. Psychologists call it implicit memory, the brain's way of learning without conscious effort. You don't remember learning to walk, but your body does. You can't pinpoint why you distrust a tone of voice, yet your muscles tense. Dark matter doesn't need to be seen to shape the universe. and your subconscious doesn't need permission to shape you. Here's where the metaphor deepens. Dark matter isn't just missing mass, it's the scaffolding that allows visible matter to assemble into galaxies. Without it, the universe would be a formless soup of stars. Your subconscious plays the same role. Studies show that over 40% of daily actions are habitual, run by mental scripts written below awareness. The way you stir your coffee, the route you drive to work, even the jokes you laugh at, all are galaxies built on hidden scaffolding. Freud compared the mind to an iceberg with most of its bulk submerged. Today's neuroscientists might call it a cosmos where the brightest stars of conscious thought float in a sea of dark cognition. Yet there's a crucial difference. While dark matter passively interacts with gravity, your subconscious is alive, constantly rewriting itself. Every déjà vu, every gut feeling is evidence of this dynamic unseen world. Trauma leaves gravitational echoes, an old song pulling you into a past moment. Love etches new pathways, a scent suddenly meaning safety. Therapists mine these depths like astronomers mapping dark matter halos, helping people trace invisible wounds. The parallel is haunting. Both cosmologists and psychologists spend careers studying what they can't directly observe, relying on indirect evidence to explain why things move the way they do. What if we embraced this uncertainty? Astronomers admit they don't yet know what dark matter is made of, only that it must exist. Similarly, no scan can show you your subconscious in real time. You infer it from behavior, dreams, slips of the tongue. Both fields teach humility. The universe is far stranger than we imagined, and so are we. Maybe that's the most profound connection. Dark matter reminds us that invisibility doesn't mean insignificance. The forces we can't see, whether holding galaxies together or driving midnight epiphanies, are often the ones that matter most. So the next time you gaze at the Milky Way, remember, you're looking at a mirror. The same mysteries that stretch across the cosmos are curled inside your skull, dark threads weaving the story of everything including you. Two particles separated by the width of a galaxy dance in perfect sync. Change the spin of one, and its partner instantly mirrors the movement, faster than light could travel between them. Physicists call this quantum entanglement, a phenomenon so bizarre Einstein dubbed it spooky action at a distance. But here's the twist. This cosmic choreography might hold the key to understanding the unexplainable bonds between people. That gut feeling when a loved one is in distress miles away, the uncanny timing of a phone call from someone you were just thinking about. What if these aren't coincidences, but echoes of the universe's deepest wiring? At the quantum level, entanglement defies classical logic. Particles become so deeply linked they share a single quantum state, regardless of physical separation. Break the connection and the bond vanishes, but until then, they exist in a shared reality. Now consider human relationships, twins who finish each other's sentences, lifelong friends who dream the same dreams, even the way a parent can sense their child's fear across a crowded room. These aren't just emotional connections, they're empirical mysteries that science struggles to quantify. While neurons and hormones explain some of it, they don't account for the immediacy, the precision of these moments. Could entanglement offer a metaphor or perhaps more? Spiritual traditions have long hinted at this interconnectedness. Indigenous cultures speak of invisible threads tying all life together. Eastern philosophies describe an underlying oneness. Modern experiments are catching up. Studies in parapsychology, though controversial, have documented statistically significant cases of non-local awareness, where individuals accurately describe events happening to loved ones far away. Skeptics dismiss it as wishful thinking, yet quantum physicists like David Bohm propose that reality might be a hologram where every part contains the whole. In such a universe, separation is an illusion, and sudden, inexplicable connections between people start to make eerie sense. The implications are staggering. If particles can entangle across space-time, why not consciousness? Some theorists suggest that entanglement isn't confined to the quantum realm. It might scale up, manifesting in biological systems. Research on bird migration reveals that flocks navigate using quantum effects in their eyes, hinting that nature harnesses entanglement for survival. Could human brains, with their trillion synaptic connections, exploit similar phenomena? The idea lingers at the fringes of neuroscience, but here's what we know for sure. Love, grief, and intuition operate outside the bounds of conventional physics. When you mourn someone light years gone, or feel a surge of joy as your best friend laughs unseen, you're touching something science can't yet map but can't dismiss either. Perhaps entanglement's greatest lesson is humility. For centuries, we've carved the world into neat categories: science versus spirituality, matter versus meaning. But the universe keeps whispering that these divisions are artificial. A mother's instinct and a physicist's equations might be describing the same bedrock truth. That connection isn't just something we do, but something we are. The next time you sense a loved one's presence before they speak, or catch yourself humming a song playing in another room, remember, you're not just witnessing magic. You're living proof that the cosmos writes its most profound laws in the language of relationship. Galaxies aren't solitary islands, they're social creatures drawn together by gravity's irresistible pull. When two spiral galaxies meet, they don't just crash and burn. They perform a slow, graceful dance over millions of years, their stars weaving through one another like threads in a cosmic tapestry. The result isn't destruction, it's rebirth. The Milky Way and Andromeda are destined for this very fate, set to collide in about 4 billion years. But rather than ending in chaos, their merger will birth a new, elliptical galaxy, its stars reshuffled into a dazzling new configuration. Now shift your gaze from the cosmos to the streets of Istanbul, where Byzantine domes meet Ottoman minarets, or to the flavors of Peruvian cuisine, where indigenous potatoes mingle with spices brought by Chinese immigrants. The universe's grandest collisions and humanity's richest cultural fusions obey the same law. Contact creates something greater than the sum of its parts. History books often frame cultural encounters as clashes, conquests, colonizations, conflicts. But like galaxies, cultures don't merely conquer, they converse. When the Silk Road connected China to Rome, it wasn't just goods that traveled, it was ideas. Papermaking, Buddhism, astronomy. Each stop along the route added another layer to the exchange, just as passing stars trade dust and gas during galactic mergers. Even conquests that began in violence often ended in synthesis. The Mongol Empire, feared for its brutality, became an accidental catalyst for global connection, linking East and West so seamlessly that Persian miniatures began featuring Chinese dragons, while Venetian merchants adopted Mongol accounting methods. These weren't erasures, they were evolutions, cultural supernovas seeding the future with hybrid brilliance. Language itself is a living record of these collisions. English, for instance, is a galactic merger frozen in time, Anglo-Saxon bedrock overlaid with Norman French, seasoned with Latin, Greek, and countless loanwords. When you say a beef from French boeuf instead of cow from Old English coo, you're tasting the linguistic equivalent of two galaxies passing through one another, their celestial vocabularies blending. The same phenomenon birthed Spanglish, Konglish, and dozens of Creole languages, each a testament to humanity's instinct to adapt rather than retreat. Yet resistance to cultural mixing persists, as if purity were possible or even desirable. The cosmos offers a gentle correction: pure isolation is death. Dwarf galaxies that avoid collisions fade away, their star formation stunted. Similarly, cultures that wall themselves off risk stagnation. Japan's Edo period, while famously insular, still absorbed Dutch medicine and Portuguese tempera. Even the most traditional practices are often palimpsests like flamenco, which fuses Romani, Moorish, and Andalusian roots into something wholly new. The lesson, what we call authentic, is usually just an older layer of synthesis. Here's the cosmic punchline: mergers aren't tidy. When galaxies collide, their gravitational turmoil flings stars into chaotic orbits, triggering bursts of chaotic star birth. Cultural exchange is equally messy. Think of the Jazz Age, where African rhythms, European harmonies, and American rebellion collided in smoky clubs, birthing a sound that scandalized purists before captivating the world. Innovation thrives in the friction zone, where unlike things rub together. The printing press, a marriage of Chinese paper, Mesopotamian ink, and European wine presses. The smartphone, a melting pot of touchscreen tech, cellular networks, and app store ecosystems from every corner of the globe. So the next time you hear fears of cultural dilution, remember the heavens. The most luminous galaxies are those that have merged repeatedly, their diversity fueling endless renewal. Human history isn't a straight line, it's a spiral dance, arms outstretched, gathering stardust from every passing stranger. And just as astronomers now see our Milky Way as a cannibalized patchwork of smaller galaxies, future historians may trace your DNA to continents you've never visited, your beliefs to philosophies born oceans apart. You're not a closed system, you're a living mosaic, proof that collision, when met with openness, is the universe's favorite way to create. Deep in the cosmos, stellar corpses spin with eerie precision, their lighthouse beams cutting through the darkness at intervals so regular you could set your watch by them. Pulsars, the ultra-dense remnants of supernovas, are nature's metronomes, some pulsing hundreds of times per second with variations of less than a microsecond over decades. Now place your hand on your chest, that steady thumping beneath your ribs. It's more than biology, it's a mirror. The human heart, like a pulsar, is a rhythm keeper, its beats so reliable we only notice them when they falter. Both are engines of persistence, one fueling a body, the other powering a star's afterlife. What's astonishing isn't just the similarity in cadence, but the conditions that create it. A pulsar's spin comes from the conservation of angular momentum, the same physics that makes a figure skater twirl faster as they pull their arms in. When a massive star collapses into a city-sized neutron star, its rotation accelerates dramatically, like a cosmic spinning top. Your heartbeat, meanwhile, is orchestrated by the sinoatrial node, a tiny cluster of cells in your heart that fires electrical impulses without any conscious input. Both systems are self-sustaining, governed by intrinsic laws rather than external commands. A pulsar doesn't need a push to keep spinning any more than your heart needs reminding to beat. Yet there's fragility beneath this reliability. Pulsars slow over time, their rotations gradually decaying as they radiate energy into space. Doctors measure heart rate variability, the subtle fluctuations between beats, as a sign of health. Too rigid a rhythm can signal stress, just as a pulsar's sudden glitch, a tiny speed up in spin, hints at internal starquakes. Both systems thrive on balance. The pulsar's magnetic field must align just so to produce its beams, while your heart's electrical signals must stay synchronized to avoid arrhythmia. It's a dance of precision where even small disruptions carry consequences. The parallels grow richer when you consider communication. Pulsars beam radiation in narrow jets, their pulses detectable across thousands of light years. In the 1970s, astronomers included a pulsar map on the Pioneer plaques, using these cosmic clocks as signposts to Earth's location. Your heart, too, sends out signals, not radio waves, but pressure waves felt in your wrists and neck, or electrical patterns captured by an EKG. Both are silent languages of regularity, one speaking to the universe, the other whispering to your body. Perhaps most poetic is how both pulses mark existence against the void. A pulsar's beam is a lighthouse in the dark, declaring, "I am here," to an otherwise indifferent cosmos. Your heartbeat does the same on a microscopic scale, each thump a defiance of entropy, a refusal to dissolve into chaos. When astronomers discovered the first pulsar in 1967, its signals were so precise they nicknamed it LGM-1, Little Green Men, before realizing it was natural. That moment of wonder wasn't just about finding a new object, it was recognizing a familiar rhythm in an alien context. The universe, it seems, has a fondness for pulses, from the largest stars to the smallest hearts. So the next time you feel your pulse quicken with excitement or slow with rest, remember, you're echoing a pattern written into the fabric of reality. Across the unimaginable gulf between star stuff and flesh, the same message repeats, steady, insistent, alive. The sun doesn't just shine, it screams. Every so often, our star's simmering magnetic fields snap like overstretched rubber bands, unleashing solar flares with the energy of 1 billion atomic bombs. These eruptions aren't random tantrums, they're the sun's way of releasing pent-up tension, a cosmic pressure valve. And here's the striking part, your emotions operate on the same principle. That sudden surge of anger when you're cut off in traffic, the tears that spill after weeks of suppressed stress, they're not breakdowns but breakthroughs. The sun and your psyche share an unspoken truth. Energy stored must eventually be spent. Watch a solar flare in slow motion, and you'll see elegance in the chaos. Twisted magnetic field lines reconnect, converting stored energy into light and heat, while coronal mass ejections hurl plasma into space. It's destructive, yes, these storms can knock out satellites and power grids, but also regenerative. Flares clear stagnation, making room for new magnetic patterns to form. Psychologists see parallel mechanisms in human emotions. Tantrums in toddlers, outbursts in adults, they're often the mind's way of resetting an overloaded system. Studies show that people who suppress emotions experience more physical illness, while those who express them adapt faster to stressors. Like the sun, we're wired to erupt when containment fails. Yet society treats emotional flares as failures. We apologize for crying, shame anger, medicate sadness into submission. Meanwhile, astronomers celebrate solar flares as vital to stellar equilibrium. Without these releases, the sun's magnetic field would grow so distorted it might choke off its own energy flow. Your emotions face the same paradox. What if that midnight sob session or heated argument wasn't a weakness, but a necessary recalibration? Therapists call it emotional homeostasis, the process of returning to balance after upheaval. The sun achieves this through flares, humans through tears, laughter, or even creative bursts. Both systems rely on periodic discharge to avoid catastrophic collapse. Timing matters too. Solar flares follow an 11-year cycle, waxing and waning with the sun's magnetic activity. Your emotional rhythms have their own cadence, maybe monthly hormonal shifts, seasonal mood variations, or the build-up to a personal milestone. The key isn't preventing eruptions, but recognizing their patterns. Astronomers can't stop solar flares, but they've learned to predict them, safeguarding technology. Similarly, emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing feelings, but mapping their terrain. When you sense pressure building, the irritability, the restless nights, that's your internal magnetosphere signaling impending release. There's beauty in the aftermath. Post-flare, the Sun often reveals stunning coronal loops, glowing arches of plasma tracing newly relaxed magnetic lines. People, too, emerge from emotional storms with clarity. Ever noticed how a good cry leaves you lighter, or how resolving a fight deepens a relationship? These are your psychological coronal loops, evidence of energy finding healthier pathways. The Sun doesn't judge its flares, and neither should you. Both are simply nature's way of saying, tension can't accumulate forever. Sometimes to keep shining, you have to let go. So the next time you witness a solar flare headline or feel one brewing in your chest, remember, you're observing the same universal law in different forms. Energy demands expression. Silence isn't strength, it's storage. And whether you're a star or a human, too much stored energy always finds a way out. The choice isn't whether to erupt, but how, with uncontrolled force that scatters debris, or with the grace of a system that knows release isn't the end but part of the dance. Out there in the cosmic dark, planets orbit stars we can't even see with the naked eye, worlds suspended in the Goldilocks zone, where temperatures are just right for liquid water, for chemistry, for the fragile miracle of life. Astronomers call them exoplanets, but they might as well be called mirrors, because every time we discover another one, another marble of rock or gas hovering in that delicate, maybe space around its sun, we're not just mapping the cosmos. We're asking the oldest human question, are we alone? And in that question lies another, quieter one. Do we belong? Consider Kepler 186f, the first Earth-sized exoplanet found in a habitable zone 500 light-years away. It's a world that could, in theory, cradle oceans, but here's what haunts me. It might not know it's special. Without a telescope pointed its way, Kepler 186f would just be another rock in the dark, spinning in silence. Isn't that the paradox of isolation? You can be in the perfect place for connection, bathed in the right light, forged from the right stuff, and still feel unseen. The irony isn't lost on psychologists. Studies show loneliness isn't about physical distance, it's about perceived distance. You can be in a crowded room and feel like Kepler 186f, technically in the right conditions, but utterly alone. Yet the act of searching changes everything. When the Kepler Space Telescope first began its mission, scientists weren't sure how common exoplanets even were. Now we know there are more planets than stars in our galaxy. That revelation didn't just rewrite astronomy textbooks, it rewired something primal in us. Suddenly, the universe felt less like a void and more like a neighborhood. Psychologists have observed a similar shift in people who have spent years feeling invisible. When someone finally sees them, it doesn't just validate their existence, it alters their perception of reality. The moment an exoplanet transitions from hypothetical to confirmed, it stops being a speck of data and becomes a story. The same happens when a person goes from stranger to friend. Discovery isn't just observation, it's transformation. There's a heartbreaking flip side, though. For every exoplanet we find, there are countless others we'll never detect, too small, too dim, too far. They'll orbit in perpetual anonymity, their potential forever unknown. And isn't that the shadow trailing every human hope? The fear that we, too, might orbit unseen, our best qualities hidden in the glare of others' brightness. Social media amplifies this dread, turning life into a cosmic popularity contest where some stars get all the likes while others drift in the algorithmic dark. But here's what exoplanets teach us. Absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Just because you haven't been found yet doesn't mean you're not worth finding. Perhaps the most profound lesson lies in the methods astronomers use to detect these distant worlds. Most exoplanets are discovered indirectly, by the slight dimming of their star as they pass in front, or the tiny wobble they induce through gravitational tug. In other words, we find them not by their own light, but by their influence on something else. People work the same way. The loneliest souls often leave the faintest fingerprints, the barrister who remembers your order, the co-worker whose quiet joke lifts the room, the stranger whose kindness lingers long after they're gone. You might never know whose sky you're brightening just by being in orbit. So the next time you gaze up, remember, the cosmos is teeming with worlds waiting to be seen, just as your life is thick with connections waiting to be made. Exoplanets don't stop existing when we turn our telescopes away, and neither do you when you feel overlooked. The universe is vast, but it's not empty. And neither are you. Nebulae don't build stars with blueprints. They thrive on turbulence. Vast clouds of gas and dust collide, condense, and collapse in a chaotic ballet, and from that disorder, light is born. The same raw, untamed energy that sculpts the Orion Nebula's swirling hues also fuels human creativity. Think of the last time you wrestled with a blank page, a silent canvas, or an unsolved problem. That frustration, it's not a barrier, it's the friction of possibility, the cosmic dust of your own mental nebula waiting to coalesce into something new. History's greatest breakthroughs often emerged from similar chaos. Einstein's theory of relativity didn't spring fully formed from his head. It simmered in years of messy thought experiments, wrong turns, and what-if questions. The Beatles' iconic albums were born from marathon jam sessions where half-baked ideas collided until magic stuck. Even the Silicon Valley mantra, fail fast, is just another way of saying, let the chaos do its work. Nebulae teach us that structure isn't the opposite of creativity, it's the eventual shape of it, arriving only after the storm. But here's where we stumble. Modern life craves efficiency, demanding linear progress, clear goals, measurable milestones, 5-year plans. Yet creativity defies spreadsheets. The Tarantula Nebula, a cauldron of star formation, doesn't operate on a timeline. It erupts when conditions align. Your mind works the same way. That flash of insight in the shower, the melody that arrives while you're washing dishes, they're proof that creativity isn't summoned, it's surrendered to. Psychologists call this the incubation period, when your subconscious chews on problems while you're distracted. It's nebulous thinking in action, wandering without a map until the stars of inspiration ignite. Resisting this uncertainty is like a nebula refusing to collapse. Imagine if the Eagle Nebula's famous pillars of creation, those towering columns of gas, clung to their original form out of fear of change. There'd be no new stars, no light. When we panic over creative blocks or dismiss meandering ideas as wasted time, we're doing the same thing. Author Neil Gaiman once described writing as walking through fog, where you can only see the next few steps. Nebulae offer a cosmic reminder. Fog isn't emptiness, it's potential in its densest form. So how do we harness this? Start by reframing doubt as fertile ground. The Horsehead Nebula's iconic silhouette wasn't carved by certainty, it was shaped by stellar winds, random collisions, and the slow press of time. Your creative process deserves the same patience. Try nebula journals, scribble half-formed ideas without judging them. Let them collide. Astronomers use long exposure photography to reveal nebulae's hidden colors. Give your thoughts the same exposure. Sleep on them, walk away, return later. The connections will emerge. Perhaps the most comforting parallel is this: nebulae are recyclers. When stars die, they spew enriched material back into space, seeding future creations. Your discarded drafts, abandoned sketches, and failed projects, they're not dead ends, they're stardust for what comes next. The universe doesn't waste its chaos, and neither should you. What if every decision you've ever made, every path taken or abandoned, exists simultaneously in some corner of reality? theoretical physics whispers a tantalizing possibility: the multiverse. Not as science fiction, but as a legitimate framework where infinite universes branch from every quantum possibility. In one universe, you took that job overseas. In another, you never left your hometown. Somewhere out there, versions of you are living all the lives you glimpsed but didn't choose, not as fantasies, but as cosmic facts. It's a concept that turns nostalgia inside out. That ache for what might have been isn't just memory, it could be a shadow cast by alternate selves in parallel timelines. The math behind this isn't mere speculation. Quantum mechanics suggests particles exist in multiple states until observed, a principle called superposition. Extend that to the universe itself, and you get the many worlds interpretation. Every quantum event spawns new realities. When you hesitated between two choices, the universe didn't pick one, it split, carrying both outcomes forward like diverging rivers. String theory takes it further, proposing higher dimensional branes where entire universes float like sheets of paper in a cosmic stack. These aren't metaphors, they're equations scrawled on blackboards by physicists like Max Tegmark and David Deutsch. Yet what grips us isn't the science alone, it's the emotional resonance. Jorge Luis Borges captured this in his short story, The Garden of Forking Paths, where every decision creates branching narratives. When we replay pivotal moments, the relationship we walked away from, the risk we didn't take, we're not just reminiscing, we're brushing against the multiverse's fabric. Psychologists call it counterfactual thinking, but poets might call it cosmic déjà vu, that tingling sense of roads not traveled. It could be the gravitational pull of other versions of you, living those roads in real time. Consider the irony. We often romanticize alternate lives, imagining they're happier, but multiverse theory makes no such promises. For every universe where you're a rock star, there's one where you flamed out. For every timeline with dreamy what-ifs, there's another where those choices led to ruin. The multiverse isn't a catalog of upgrades, it's a mosaic of trade-offs. This realization mirrors therapy breakthroughs where patients confront the myth of perfect paths. Parallel universes don't guarantee better outcomes, they guarantee different ones. Here's where physics meets philosophy. If countless versions of us exist, does any single life's meaning dilute? Buddhist thought offers an unexpected parallel, the concept of interbeing, where all possibilities coexist in dynamic interdependence. Rather than diminishing significance, the multiverse might amplify it. Each choice matters not because it's singular, but because it's part of an infinite tapestry. Your heartbreak, your triumphs, your mundane Tuesday nights aren't erased by alternatives. They're woven into a grander pattern. Practical implications emerge too. Multiverse thinking can cure decision paralysis. If every option plays out somewhere, there's no wrong choice, just different adventures. It's liberation disguised as physics. You're not choosing the one true path, but stepping into one of many valid narratives. This aligns with modern cognitive behavioral techniques that encourage embracing uncertainty. The anxiety of "what if I'd said yes" melts when you realize some version of you did. The most haunting question remains, could we ever detect these alternate selves? Some theorists propose that quantum entanglement might leave fingerprints, subtle correlations between universes. Others suggest black holes could be portals to neighboring branes. While evidence remains elusive, the search itself reshapes how we see our lives. You're not a static character in a linear story. You're a shimmering probability wave echoing across dimensions. So the next time you wonder about the life you didn't live, remember, according to the cosmos, you're living it, not as a ghost of potential, but as a flesh and blood reality in some other spacetime. The multiverse doesn't erase your journey, it dignifies all possible journeys. Your regrets and reliefs aren't footnotes, they're parallel chapters in the universe's most ambitious epic. And that's comfort stranger and sweeter than fiction. The faint glow of the cosmic microwave background is the universe's oldest photograph, a snapshot from 380,000 years after the Big Bang, when light first broke free from the grip of plasma. This afterglow isn't just ancient radiation, it's a celestial memory imprinted on the fabric of space-time. And here's the breathtaking part, your brain works the same way. Every experience you've ever had, every laugh, every heartache, every moment of wonder, leaves its own neural afterglow, shaping who you are in ways both subtle and profound. Scientists study the cosmic microwave background like a forensic fingerprint, reading tiny temperature fluctuations that reveal the universe's infancy. These imperfections, some warmer, some cooler, became the seeds for galaxies, stars, and eventually us. Your personal history operates on a similar principle. Childhood joys and traumas, pivotal conversations, even seemingly insignificant moments, they all leave neural fluctuations, patterns of synaptic connections that determine how you react to love, stress, or beauty decades later. Psychologists call this implicit memory, the way your past writes itself into your nervous system, often outside conscious awareness. The cosmic background and your subconscious share a quiet truth: the beginnings never really leave us. There's a haunting precision to these echoes. The Planck satellite mapped the cosmic microwave background with such detail that cosmologists can trace today's galactic superclusters back to those primordial density variations. Therapy achieves something similar by unpacking early emotional imprints. We can trace adult behaviors to their source, that inexplicable fear of abandonment. It might link to a forgotten childhood moment, just as the Milky Way's spiral arms connect to quantum ripples from the universe's first trillionth of a second. Both cosmos and consciousness are palimpsests, layer upon layer of history written into their structure. Yet these echoes aren't prisons. The cosmic microwave background doesn't dictate the universe's fate, it merely sets the stage. Dark energy, galactic collisions, and quantum randomness all shape what comes next. Similarly, your past influences but doesn't own you. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, means new experiences can soften old scars, just as new stars can bloom in ancient galaxies. The cosmic background fades over time, its light stretched by the universe's expansion. Your memories fade too, not vanishing but transforming, their edges softened by time and retelling. What's most stirring is the intimacy of this parallel. When astronomers point radio telescopes at the cosmic microwave background, they're literally studying the universe's baby pictures. When you revisit old photos or catch a scent that transports you decades back, you're doing the same, holding up a mirror to your own origins. The universe keeps its first light woven into everything, and so do you. Those childhood summers, that first heartbreak, the moment you realized who you wanted to be, they're not gone. Like the cosmic microwave background, they hum in the background of your being, invisible but indispensable, reminding you that every present is built upon 1,000 vanished moments. So the next time you gaze at static on an old TV, a tiny fraction of which is actually cosmic microwave background radiation, consider this. You're not just seeing noise. You're witnessing the universe's memory, and by extension, your own. The past isn't a place you've left behind. It's the light you carry forward. Time warps near a black hole like taffy, stretched to its limit. Seconds for you might be years for someone watching from afar. Einstein's relativity proves time isn't a rigid tick-tock but a fluid thing, bending under gravity's weight. Yet here's the twist, your brain bends time too. That endless Monday meeting and the vacation that vanished in a blink, They're proof that time's elasticity isn't just out there in space, it's wired into your neurons. Consider the astronaut orbiting near a black hole's edge. To them, minutes pass normally coffee sips, breath in and out. But back on Earth, decades unravel, families age, civilizations rise and fall. This isn't sci-fi, it's hard physics. Gravity doesn't just pull matter, it tugs on time itself. Now shift the scene to your last heartbreak. Remember how those first empty nights oozed like molasses, each hour a lifetime, while the happy months before it now feel compressed in memory to a single bright flash. Your brain didn't misfire, it revealed time's secret. It's not measured in seconds, but in significance. Neuroscientists trace this to the amygdala, your brain's emotional alarm system. During trauma or intense joy, it gobbles up sensory details, creating dense memory clusters. When you revisit them, the playback feels elongated like a black hole's stretched spacetime. Ever noticed how childhood summers felt endless while adult years blur? It's not just nostalgia. Kids encode more novel experiences, their brains stitching time with rich seams. Routine, by contrast, compresses perception. A week at a new job crawls, a year in the same role dissolves. The universe whispers a truth through both physics and psychology. Time isn't absolute. It's a story you co-write with gravity and attention. But here's where relativity gets personal. Near a black hole, time slows so drastically that crossing its event horizon would freeze your final moments from an outsider's view, a ghostly tableau of almosts and nevers. Grief mirrors this. In the raw aftermath of loss, you inhabit a distorted timeline where, before and after fracture, the world moves on, but your inner clock stalls, stuck in the gravity well of sorrow. Therapists call this bereavement time, a parallel dimension where minutes and millennia hold hands. The cosmos doesn't judge this dilation, it models it. Yet there's liberation in this duality. If time bends, then so can your relationship with it. Cultures like the Maori and Hopi intuit this, weaving circular time into their languages. No past or future, only eternal now. Modern mindfulness practices echo this, teaching that presence stretches seconds like spacetime near a neutron star. When you're fully immersed crafting, dancing, lost in conversation, time doesn't vanish. It expands. You're not escaping time. You're meeting it on relativistic terms, where joy's quick moments are actually dense with meaning, like matter crushed into diamonds. So the next time you curse the clock or mourn a fleeting happy moment, remember, you're not at the mercy of time. You're in dialogue with it. The same force that lets black holes warp light lets you warp your own perception. Slow down and you'll find hours hidden between breaths. Pay attention, and even ordinary days can supernova. The moon's silent tug on our planet is anything but subtle. It lifts entire oceans, dragging billions of tons of water across continents twice a day with the reliability of a cosmic metronome. But its influence doesn't stop at shorelines. For centuries, fishermen have sworn by planting crops during the waxing moon for better yields, while hospital staff whisper about busier emergency rooms during full moons. These aren't just old wives' tales, they're echoes of a deeper connection between lunar rhythms and living systems, one that science is only beginning to map. Take the female reproductive cycle, which averages 28 days, nearly identical to the moon's 29.5-day orbit. This synchronicity appears across cultures and epochs, from ancient goddess statues adorned with lunar symbols to the very word menstruation, derived from the Latin mensis, meaning month or moon. Modern studies reveal something startling. When artificial light is removed, women's cycles often realign with the moon's phases, suggesting our biology evolved under lunar timekeeping. The same gravitational forces that swell the tides may subtly tug at the fluid-filled sacs surrounding human eggs, triggering ovulation like a celestial alarm clock. Yet the moon's reach extends beyond biology into the realm of behavior. Police departments from New York to Tokyo have analyzed crime data and found slight upticks in violent incidents during full moons, a phenomenon so persistent it's earned the tongue-in-cheek label, the lunar effect. Sleep labs report that people take 5 minutes longer to fall asleep and experience 30% less deep sleep during this phase, even when shielded from the moon's light. The culprit, possibly the same electromagnetic fluctuations that disrupt migratory birds' navigation. Your grandmother's insistence that people act stranger when the moon is full might have more physics behind it than folklore. Agriculture reveals another layer. Biodynamic farmers plant root crops during the waning moon when sap descends, and leafy greens during the waxing phase when sap rises. A practice dismissed as pseudoscience until recent studies showed measurable differences in plant nutrient absorption tied to lunar cycles. Even corals, those undersea architects, time their mass-spawning events to the moon's brightness, releasing eggs and sperm in synchronized bursts across entire reefs. From micro to macro, life dances to lunar cues we're only starting to decode. Perhaps most poetic is how the moon mirrors emotional tides we've long sensed but couldn't quantify. Artists from Van Gogh to Billie Holiday have channeled its melancholic pull, while poets like Sylvia Plath described it as terrible and beautiful. Modern psychology offers a lens, the moon's cyclical nature. Its constant death and rebirth resonates with our own experiences of loss and renewal. Lunar phases become an external map for internal transformations, a celestial companion to our darkest and brightest seasons. The next time you feel inexplicably restless under a full moon or find old wounds surfacing with the new moon's darkness, remember, you're not imagining things. You're responding to an ancient rhythm written into your cells, a silent conversation between your body and the sky. The moon doesn't just light the night, it hums a frequency that stirs the sea, the soil, and yes, even the soul. 66 million years ago, a rock the size of Manhattan screamed through Earth's atmosphere at 45,000 miles per hour, not with a whimper, but with the energy of 1 billion nuclear bombs. The Chicxulub impact didn't just wipe out the dinosaurs, it reset the entire course of life, clearing the stage for mammals to rise from the shadows. But here's the humbling truth, that cataclysm wasn't unique. Our planet's history is written in craters, from the 200-mile-wide Vredefort Dome in South Africa to the eerie, half-mile-deep Barringer crater in Arizona. These scars tell a story. Sometimes progress requires catastrophe. Now zoom way into the human scale. That phone call that shattered your routine, the diagnosis that rewrote your future, the chance encounter that rerouted your destiny, these are your personal Chicxulub moments. They strike without warning, leaving craters in your plans, but also something unexpected, fertile ground. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where people emerge from upheaval with renewed purpose, deeper relationships, or creative bursts they couldn't have imagined before. Just as asteroid impacts delivered the very metals that enabled human technology, iron from the sky, your worst days might be depositing raw materials for a version of yourself you've yet to meet. Consider the paradox hidden in these events. Asteroid impacts are cosmically rare. A city killer might strike once every few thousand years, yet their effects echo for eons. Human turning points follow the same pattern. Most days pass in quiet continuity, but the handful that don't, they redefine everything. The twist, we often misjudge which moments will crater our lives. The meeting you dreaded might be forgettable. The coffee spill that ruined your shirt could lead to a conversation that changes your career. disruption doesn't announce its importance in advance. There's a false comfort in assuming catastrophe is always destructive. The same impact that ended the Cretaceous period also created the Yucatan cenotes, those breathtaking sinkholes filled with turquoise water, now thriving ecosystems. Similarly, personal disasters carve out emotional cenotes, hidden reservoirs of strength, compassion, or clarity. After losing his startup, one entrepreneur founded a non-profit tackling a problem he'd previously ignored. A widow channeled her grief into founding a support network that's since helped thousands. These aren't silver linings, they're transformations. The universe's messiest collisions often birth its most luminous possibilities. So how do we navigate these cosmic-scale disruptions when they hit? Astronomers track near-Earth objects, calculating trajectories decades in advance. We can't predict personal asteroids, but we can cultivate impact-resistant mindsets. Diversify your emotional portfolio, nurture varied interests and relationships so no single loss can collapse your world. Practice seismic adaptability like organisms that survived Chicxulub by sheltering in burrows or water. Sometimes the best response to upheaval is strategic retreat until the dust settles. Most crucially, remember, extinction events are also speciation events. The dinosaurs didn't see their asteroid coming, but you can choose what grows in the crater. The closest star to Earth, Proxima Centauri, sits 4.2 light-years away, which means a simple hello sent today wouldn't reach anyone living there until long after you're gone. Even at light speed, the fastest anything can travel in our universe, communication across the cosmos isn't just slow, it's heartbreakingly out of sync. Yet here's the paradox: this interstellar lag mirrors something deeply human. The unanswered text, the letter lost in the mail, the childhood friend you haven't seen in decades. These are your personal light-year gaps, moments where connection stretches thin across the void of time and space. Consider the Voyager golden records, hurtling through space with greetings in 55 languages and sounds of Earth's biosphere. They won't reach another star system for 40,000 years. The people who crafted them knew they'd never see a reply, yet they sent them anyway. There's a quiet heroism in that act, a refusal to let the universe's indifference silence human warmth. It's the same stubborn hope that compels soldiers to write letters home knowing delivery may take months, or immigrants to record voice notes for relatives in distant time zones. Cosmic delays don't negate connection, they redefine it, turning communication into an act of faith. Modern life has erased most waiting from our interactions. Texts deliver in seconds, videos stream without buffering, and entire relationships unfold through real-time notifications. But something vital gets lost in this immediacy: the weight of anticipation, the sweetness of delayed gratification. Astronomers studying exoplanets often work with data that's years or centuries old, analyzing light from stars that may have already died. Their patience isn't just scientific discipline, it's a masterclass in presence. When you can't control the timeline, you learn to savor the act of reaching out rather than fixating on the reply. Loneliness, then, might be less about physical distance and more about temporal dissonance, the mismatch between our hunger for connection and the universe's glacial pace. The pale blue dot photo, where Earth appears as a single pixel from 4 billion miles away, captures this perfectly. You can shout into that vastness and hear only silence, yet the very act of shouting affirms your existence. Therapists see parallels in patients who journal to departed, loved ones, or artists who create work meant for future generations. These aren't failures to connect. They're expansions of what connection can mean when freed from instant validation. Perhaps the most profound lesson lies in how celestial objects communicate without words. Binary stars separated by light years coordinate their orbits through gravitational whispers, their mutual pull transcending the need for signals. Human relationships have similar unseen tugs, the shared memory that surfaces simultaneously in two minds, the inside joke that lands years later, the way a parent's advice suddenly makes sense decades after it was given. The universe reminds us that some bonds don't require constant chatter to endure. They pulse quietly like quasars flickering across the dark, their light arriving long after the source has moved on. So the next time you refresh an empty inbox or ache for a voice you can't immediately hear, remember, you're participating in a cosmic tradition far older than Wi-Fi. The Andromeda Galaxy is barreling toward us at 250,000 miles per hour, yet its light still takes 2.5 million years to arrive. Some messages are worth waiting for, not because they'll come quickly, but because they'll mean more when they do. Distance doesn't diminish connection. It distills it into its purest form, not a transaction, but a testament. Gamma-ray bursts are the universe's primal scream, colossal explosions so powerful they outshine entire galaxies for fleeting moments, ripping through space with the energy of a billion suns. In seconds, they unleash more power than our star will in its entire 10 billion-year lifespan. Yet these violent events aren't just cosmic spectacles, they're echoes of a process we know intimately. The emotional catharsis that follows grief, rage, or even overwhelming joy operates on the same principle. Sometimes to rebuild, you must first erupt. Picture a gamma-ray burst's aftermath. The initial flash obliterates everything in its path, but what follows is unexpected, a slower, glowing afterglow where heavy elements forged in the explosion seed nearby space with the building blocks for new stars. Psychologists recognize a parallel in human emotional release. Trauma survivors describe the moment of breakdown as a rupture, but often note how clarity emerges in its wake. The Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold, embodies this truth. Destruction isn't the end. It's the beginning of a different kind of wholeness. Consider the timing. Gamma-ray bursts often signal the death of massive stars or the collision of neutron stars, events that occur after long periods of buildup. Similarly, emotional outbursts rarely come out of nowhere. They're the culmination of unspoken tensions, suppressed feelings, or unresolved conflicts that simmer beneath the surface until the pressure becomes unbearable. The universe doesn't judge these explosions as failures, and neither should we. They're natural recalibrations, cosmic and psychological pressure valves. Yet there's a crucial distinction between chaos and catharsis. Random gamma-ray bursts can sterilize planets light years away, but the ones that occur in structured environments like those constrained by magnetic fields channel their energy into breathtaking jets. Human emotions follow the same spectrum. Uncontrolled rage can scorch relationships, but anger harnessed into advocacy or creativity becomes transformative. The ancient Greeks understood this duality, designing theater as a space for collective catharsis where audiences could purge dark emotions safely. Modern therapy serves a similar function, offering containment for life's inevitable explosions. The most profound lesson lies in what emerges from the wreckage. Gamma-ray bursts are the universe's primary distributors of rare elements like gold and platinum, precious metals born in annihilation. Your lowest moments have a similar alchemy. The divorce that shattered your sense of self might later reveal untapped resilience. The failure that flattened your ego could become the foundation for humility and growth. Astronomers study gamma-ray bursts to understand the origins of cosmic metals. Therapists study breakdowns to map the origins of wisdom. Both are mining the same truth. Destruction and creation share a heartbeat. So the next time you feel the pressure building, whether it's unshed tears or unspoken truth, remember the stars. They teach us that holding back isn't strength. True strength is having the courage to explode when needed, trusting that the light after the burst will guide you home. Every atom in your body heavier than hydrogen, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, even the gold in your jewelry, was forged in the heart of a dying star. When a supernova explodes, it scatters these elements across space like a cosmic gardener sowing seeds. Over billions of years, that stardust clumps together, forming planets, oceans, and eventually you. The carbon in your cells, the oxygen in your lungs, they've survived interstellar journeys longer than Earth has existed. You're not just living in the universe, you're a walking archive of its most dramatic moments. Yet here's the paradox: these ancient materials compose a life astonishingly brief. The iron in your hemoglobin might be 4.5 billion years old, but your time to wield it. A blink. This duality, eternal stardust housed in temporary vessels, is what makes human existence so poignant. The Japanese concept of mono, no aware, captures it perfectly. The bittersweet awareness of impermanence, like cherry blossoms that are most beautiful precisely because they fall. Supernova take this further. Their deaths aren't tragedies, they're transformations. A star's final act becomes the raw material for nebulae, planets, and life itself. Your mortality mirrors this cycle, not an end, but a redistribution of energy. Consider the Orion Nebula, a stellar nursery glowing with infant stars. Its vibrant clouds are laced with silicon, sulfur, and carbon, all ejected by long-dead stars. Now look at your own hands. The phosphorus in your DNA, the zinc in your enzymes, were once part of similar clouds, drifting until gravity sculpted them into biology. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's geochemical fact. The universe doesn't waste its creations. It reincarnates them, turning supernova ash into sunrises, into symphonies, into the quiet miracle of a heartbeat. But what does this mean for how we live? If we're literally made of recycled stardust, then our bodies are on loan from the cosmos. Tibetan monks craft intricate sand mandalas only to sweep them away, a practice honoring impermanence. Your life is that mandala, a temporary arrangement of ancient particles, dazzling in its complexity yet destined to disperse. This perspective isn't morbid, it's liberating. When you grasp that your atoms have survived worse than your worst day, supernova temperatures, asteroid impacts, ice ages, daily anxieties shrink to stardust. The final comfort lies in continuity. After you're gone, your atoms will continue their cosmic journey. Some might become part of a distant planet's atmosphere, others might join a newborn star. The nitrogen in your hair could one day nurture a forest. The oxygen you exhale may fuel a future civilization. Death, in this light, isn't deletion, it's redeployment. The universe remembers everything it's made. You're not just stardust, you're the universe, temporarily arranged into a form that can wonder about itself. Gravitational waves begin with violence, two black holes locked in a death spiral, each so massive that their collision warps the very fabric of spacetime. When they finally merge, they unleash energy equivalent to 1 billion trillion suns, sending ripples across the universe at light speed. These waves are so subtle that detecting them required lasers precise enough to measure a shift smaller than an atom's width. Yet here's what's astonishing: those ripples don't just fade into silence. They linger, subtly altering the paths of stars and galaxies they pass, like a stone's throw disturbing a pond's surface long after the splash. Now shrink that cosmic scale down to human level. Every choice you make, every word spoken, every kindness extended or withheld sends out its own gravitational waves. The compliment that buoyed a stranger's entire week, the harsh comment that echoes in someone's memory years later, the small act of generosity that inspires a chain reaction of goodwill. These aren't metaphors. Neuroscientists have mapped how positive interactions release oxytocin, creating literal waves of trust that ripple through social networks. Your anger or compassion doesn't stop with you. It warps the emotional space-time around you, bending the trajectories of lives you'll never know. Consider the butterfly effect in action. A study tracking job seekers found that those who received even brief encouragement from a mentor were significantly more likely to persist and often passed that encouragement forward to others. Like gravitational waves stretching and compressing space-time as they travel, one person's belief in another can stretch someone's sense of possibility or compress their self-doubt. Historians trace this phenomenon through cultural tipping points. Rosa Parks' refusal to move, Greta Thunberg's solitary climate protest, moments that seemed small until their ripples reached critical mass. But here's where the cosmic analogy deepens. Just as colliding black holes lose energy and eventually settle into a new equilibrium, our emotional waves dissipate if not reinforced. A single act of cruelty rarely defines a life unless it's repeated or amplified. Conversely, sustained kindness creates what psychologists call emotional resonance, where positive interactions build momentum like gravitational waves stacking upon one another. The black hole merger reminds us impact isn't about size alone, it's about consistency. A droplet repeated creates a current, a nudge repeated moves a mountain. The most humbling lesson comes from how gravitational waves are detected. Scientists don't observe them directly, they measure how the waves distort everything around them. Similarly, you may never see the full effect of your actions. The apology you hesitated to make, the patience you showed a struggling coworker, the truth you spoke when it was easier to stay silent, their ripples extend beyond your field of vision. The universe operates on this principle. What matters most is often invisible, measurable only by its influence on the visible. So how do we harness this knowledge? Start by imagining your daily interactions as cosmic events. Before speaking, ask, if this moment sent ripples across 100 lives, what kind of distortion would I create? Not every act needs to be a supernova. Sometimes the most profound waves come from quiet consistency, like the steady pull of a moon on the tides. The cosmos doesn't demand perfection, just presence. After all, even black holes, those perfect vacuums of darkness, teach us something luminous. No force in the universe operates in isolation. Every crash echoes. Every pull alters, and so do you. Dark energy is the universe's greatest mystery, an invisible force stretching space-time itself, pushing galaxies apart faster and faster with each passing moment. Scientists don't yet know what it is, only what it does. It accelerates expansion against all expectations, defying gravity's pull. Now turn that lens inward. What unseen forces propel you forward when logic says you should stall? That surge of motivation on a weary morning, the resilience that surfaces after failure, the quiet voice that whispers, "Try again," when the world shouts, "Give up." These are your personal dark energy, the inexplicable drivers of your evolution. Consider how dark energy operates. It doesn't announce itself with flashes or noise. It's detectable only by its effects, the way distant galaxies recede faster than predicted. Your hidden catalysts work the same way. Perhaps it's a childhood memory of your grandmother's persistence, or a book you read once that lodged in your subconscious, shaping decisions you can't fully trace. Psychologists call these implicit motivators, the silent architects of behavior. Like dark energy's repulsive force, they operate outside your awareness, yet they're powerful enough to bend the trajectory of your life. Here's where the metaphor deepens. Dark energy grows stronger as the universe expands, its influence magnifying over time. Personal growth follows the same arc. The courage to speak up in one meeting makes the next easier. A single act of self-compassion softens the grip of perfectionism, creating space for more. What starts as a faint nudge becomes an unstoppable momentum, not because the force changes, but because you've expanded to meet it. This is the paradox of inner work. The more you grow, the more you can grow. Yet dark energy isn't without controversy. Some theorists propose it's not a force at all, but a flaw in our understanding of gravity. Similarly, your driving energies might defy easy categorization. That stubborn hope after a breakup, it might not fit neat narratives of strength or denial. The artist who creates best when heartbroken, the entrepreneur fueled by old insecurities. These complexities mirror the universe's refusal to be pinned down. Growth isn't always pretty or linear. Sometimes it's the messy, inexplicable push against your own gravity. The most humbling parallel lies in dark energy's dominance. It makes up 68% of the universe's total energy, yet we can't see or touch it. Your hidden drivers share that quiet supremacy. The love you can't quantify but would die for, the values no paycheck could shake. These are the dark energy of your psyche, outweighing the visible markers of success. Modern life obsesses over measurable goals, promotions, salaries, likes. But what really propels you? It's often the unmeasurable, the unfinished conversation that haunts you toward forgiveness, the fleeting moment of awe that redirects your career. So how do you harness this? Start by treating your unseen energies like astronomers study dark energy, not by chasing answers, but by observing their effects. Keep a journal of moments when motivation surprised you. Track the why behind pivots that felt irrational at the time. Over patterns will emerge, revealing your personal cosmology of growth. And when you hit a wall, remember, even the universe doesn't rely on visible matter to expand. Sometimes the most powerful forces are the ones you'll never fully understand. You just trust they're carrying you forward. In the end, dark energy and personal growth share the same lesson. Not everything that moves us needs to be seen to be real. The universe expands because it must. You grow because you're wired to, not in spite of the unknown, but through it. The galaxies don't ask why space stretches, they simply ride the tide. Maybe that's the ultimate freedom, to stop demanding explanations for your own momentum and just let it carry you. Across the cosmos, binary stars perform an eternal dance, two massive bodies locked in mutual orbit, sometimes for billions of years. Some duos whirl around each other in flawless harmony, their gravitational embrace so precise you could set a cosmic clock to it. Others spiral wildly, one star siphoning material from its partner until one collapses or explodes. These stellar relationships aren't just celestial curiosities. They're mirrors of our own most intimate bonds, written in the language of gravity and light. Take the perfect synchrony of binary pulsars PSR J0737 3039, two neutron stars orbiting each other every 2.4 hours with such precision that their pulses arrive within microseconds of prediction. Their rhythm is so reliable that astronomers use them to test Einstein's theory of relativity. This is the astrophysical equivalent of a couple who finish each other's sentences, whose routines interlock seamlessly after decades together. Yet even these harmonious pairs have a dark secret. They're slowly losing energy, emitting gravitational waves that will eventually cause them to merge in a spectacular collision. The lesson: no relationship exists outside time's pull. Even the closest bonds must evolve or face collapse. Then there are the vampiric binaries, where one star grows bloated and bright by stealing hydrogen from its companion. Like toxic relationships that drain one partner to feed the other's needs, these systems often end catastrophically. either in a supernova that obliterates both stars or a quiet fading where the donor star becomes a ghostly white dwarf. Psychologists see parallels in codependent dynamics, where one person's identity dissolves into the other's demands. The cosmos offers no judgment, only consequence. Energy taken without reciprocity cannot sustain itself indefinitely. But not all unstable binaries meet grim fates. Some, like Beta Lyrae, find equilibrium through asymmetry. One star swells into a giant while the other remains compact, creating a push-pull dynamic that somehow works. These mismatched pairs resonate with human relationships that thrive on complementary differences. Think of the introvert-extrovert couple who balance each other's social batteries, or the dreamer-realist duo who turn wild ideas into grounded plans. Chaos theory reveals that such systems aren't truly chaotic. They operate by deeper, more flexible rules where tension becomes part of the harmony. Perhaps the most poetic binary is the visual pair, stars that appear close from Earth but are actually light years apart, their connection an illusion of perspective. These speak to relationships that feel destined yet lack true gravitational pull. The childhood friend you outgrow, the coworker you mistook for a soulmate, the online connection that fades when the screen dims. Astronomers call these optical doubles, a gentle reminder that proximity doesn't always mean kinship. The final lesson comes from contact binaries, rare stars so close they share atmospheres, their surfaces touching as they whirl. These aren't metaphors for enmeshment, but for the vulnerability required to truly merge. Like humans who dare to love without armor, these stars pay a price. Their mutual tides distort their shapes, creating dumbbell-like forms that defy celestial norms. Yet in that distortion lies their beauty. They prove that connection isn't about perfection, but about willingness to be reshaped. So the next time you struggle to balance closeness and autonomy, remember the stars. They've been writing love letters in gravity for 13 billion years, some brief and bright, others enduring beyond imagining. Whether your relationships last lifetimes or mere seasons, they're part of the same cosmic dance, matter longing for connection, space yearning to be bridged, light reaching across the dark. In the first trillionth of a second after the Big Bang, the universe did something extraordinary. It expanded faster than the speed of light, doubling in size at least 90 times over. Cosmologists call this cosmic inflation, a period so transformative that it set the stage for everything we know today. Yet here's what's wild: this wasn't slow growth. It was a flash of exponential change, a cosmic light switch flipped in the dark. And buried in that ancient acceleration is a truth about our own lives. Transformation doesn't always creep in on cat's feet. Sometimes it arrives like a thunderclap, rewriting reality in an instant. Think of the last time your perspective shattered. Maybe it was a diagnosis that redefined your future in a single sentence, or a chance encounter that unraveled lifelong assumptions. These aren't just personal milestones, they're echoes of the universe's primal growth spurt. Like cosmic inflation, epiphanies don't ask permission. They stretch the fabric of your understanding, leaving you standing in a suddenly vaster world. Historians trace this pattern through civilization's leaps. Darwin's glimpse of evolution in the Galapagos, Newton's apple-fueled gravity revelation, Rosalind Franklin's X-ray crystallography revealing DNA's helix. None of these breakthroughs were gradual. They were mental big bangs expanding human thought overnight. But inflation holds a paradox. While the universe ballooned exponentially, its temperature dropped dramatically, a cooling that allowed quarks to form atoms, then molecules, then us. Personal transformations follow the same arc. The white-hot moment of realization, I need to leave this job, this relationship is over, often gives way to an eerie calm, a mental space where new structures can form. Therapists call this the liminal zone, that disorienting but fertile gap between who you were and who you're becoming. Like particles condensing in the early universe, your thoughts reorganize in this stillness, assembling into a sturdier version of yourself. Consider how inflation solved cosmic mysteries. Before this theory, scientists couldn't explain why the universe was so uniform, why temperatures in opposite directions matched so precisely. Inflation stretched microscopic quantum fluctuations into galaxy-spanning patterns, creating order from chaos. Your sudden insights do similar work. That sleepless night when you finally see a toxic pattern clearly, or the therapy session when childhood fragments click into place. These are moments when mental inflation smooths your inner universe, revealing hidden connections across time. The clarity feels instant, but it's built on eons of subconscious churn. Yet inflation's legacy isn't just expansion, it's imperfection. The tiny quantum ripples it amplified became the seeds for galaxies. Without those flaws, the cosmos would be a featureless void. Human growth mirrors this. Those jagged edges you deem failures, the career detour, the heartbreak that left scars, are the very textures that give your life depth. Japanese pottery celebrates kintsugi, repairing cracks with gold. The universe goes further. It builds entire worlds from its cracks. Your flaws aren't accidents. They're the gravitational wells where meaning collects. So how do we harness inflationary energy in daily life? First, stop fearing the flashpoint. Just as the early universe needed rapid expansion to avoid collapse, some truths can't be swallowed in doses. Second, embrace the cooling period. After epiphanies come plateaus, times when insights integrate silently, like cosmic background radiation. Finally, trust the ripples. That one bold conversation, that single no to what no longer serves you, will echo farther than you know. The universe didn't grow politely, it erupted. And so, when the moment demands, can you? Astrobiology doesn't just search for alien microbes, it holds up a mirror to humanity's deepest questions. Imagine the moment we confirm life beyond Earth, perhaps in the icy plumes of Enceladus or the methane lakes of Titan. That discovery won't just rewrite textbooks, it will shatter the silent assumption that life is a singular miracle. Suddenly, the arc of existence stretches beyond our biosphere, and with it, the weight of our self-importance crumbles. But here's the paradox: in realizing we're not unique, we might finally grasp how precious we are. For centuries, philosophers tied meaning to centrality, the idea that Earth, and by extension humanity, held a privileged place in creation. The Copernican revolution dethroned us geographically, yet we clung to biological exceptionalism. Astrobiology challenges even that. If extremophiles thrive in boiling vents or frozen Martian soil, life isn't a delicate fluke, it's a cosmic inevitability. This isn't demotion, it's liberation. A dandelion seed isn't less wondrous because the field is full of them. Its meaning comes from blooming where it lands, not from being the only one. Yet the stakes feel existential. Religions have long pondered whether souls exist beyond Earth. Scientists now ask about consciousness beyond DNA. If we find intelligence orbiting another star, do our myths, art, and struggles become provincial? Or more universal, consider the golden record aboard Voyager, a time capsule of human laughter, Bach concertos, and Navajo chants. Its very existence betrays a hope that meaning transcends the maker. The record wasn't just for aliens, it was our way of whispering into the cosmic dark. This mattered to us. The search itself reshapes our values. Missions like SETI scan millions of frequencies, not knowing if a signal will ever come. This isn't just technical perseverance, it's a form of radical hope, a belief that the universe rewards curiosity. Psychologists see parallels in how humans derive purpose from pursuit as much as discovery. The climber finds meaning in the ascent, not just the summit. Astrobiology teaches us that questions can be destinations too. Perhaps the most humbling truth lies in timescales. If life arose independently on Mars 4 billion years ago, only to snuff out, what does that say about Earth's future? Conversely, if Europa's ocean teems with organisms unaware of our existence, how does that reshape our empathy? The cosmos doesn't owe us an audience for our dramas, yet here we are building telescopes to find neighbors who may not care we exist. There's bravery in that, a declaration that connection matters, even if it's unreciprocated. So what survives this cosmic perspective? Not the ego of being special, but the dignity of being part of something vast. The artist doesn't stop painting because others hold brushes. The poet doesn't silence their verse because other languages exist. Meaning was never in our singularity, but in our participation, the way a single note contributes to a symphony no one composed, yet everyone understands. Neutron stars are cosmic alchemists taking ordinary matter and crushing it into something extraordinary. Imagine squeezing Mount Everest into a sugar cube. That's the level of compression we're talking about, atomic nuclei packed so tightly that protons and electrons fuse into neutrons, creating a material just 1 teaspoon of which outweighs every car on Earth combined. Yet this unimaginable density isn't just a physics curiosity, it's a blueprint for how pressure transforms us. The same forces that create neutron stars operate in human lives. Adversity doesn't just weigh us down, it remakes us at the atomic level. Consider how these stellar remnants form. A massive star, once vibrant and luminous, collapses under its own gravity after a supernova explosion. What remains isn't rubble, it's a reborn entity with entirely new properties. The heat and pressure are so extreme that the star's very identity changes. People who have endured profound trauma describe eerily similar metamorphoses, the loss of a former self, the emergence of a different way of being. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth, but neutron stars offer a more visceral metaphor. Sometimes you don't just survive the crush, you become something denser, stronger, capable of bending light around you. There's a reason neutron stars spin so fast, some rotating hundreds of times per second. All that compressed energy has to go somewhere. Survivors of adversity often exhibit this same kinetic intensity, channeling pain into activism, art, or innovation. Frida Kahlo transformed lifelong physical agony into paintings that pulse with raw vitality. Stephen Hawking's ALS diagnosis collapsed his body but amplified his mind, leading to breakthroughs about black holes that echoed his own containment. Like neutron stars emitting precise pulsar beams from their poles, these individuals focus unimaginable pressure into directed brilliance. Yet resilience isn't about invulnerability. Probe a neutron star's crust, and you'll find nuclear pasta, a bizarre material neither solid nor liquid. Its layers warped into shapes resembling spaghetti and lasagna by competing forces. Even the universe's toughest objects have complex textures. This nuance matters when we talk about human strength. The veteran who appears unshakable but wrestles with night terrors, the cancer survivor whose scans are clear but whose nerves still brace for bad news, these aren't contradictions. They're evidence that resilience includes flexibility, that healing isn't the absence of scars but the integration of them. The most stunning neutron star feature might be their magnetic fields trillions of times stronger than Earth's. These fields don't just deflect, they reorganize surrounding space, creating magnetospheres where physics behaves differently. Trauma survivors know this terrain the way certain dates or sounds trigger gravitational pulls into the past. But here's the cosmic insight: magnetic fields also protect. Earth's magnetosphere shields us from solar winds, A neutron star's field channels its energy into breathtaking auroras. Likewise, the defenses we build after hardship, boundaries, coping mechanisms, chosen families aren't just walls. They're adaptive structures that let us navigate hostile environments without losing ourselves. Perhaps the ultimate lesson lies in neutron star collisions. When two of these ultra-dense objects spiral together, they don't just explode, they create gold, platinum, and other heavy elements essential for life. The universe literally turns its most extreme collisions into building blocks for new worlds. Your lowest moments, the losses that left you breathless, the failures that reshaped your identity aren't in points. They're the violent, necessary processes that forge the materials for what comes next. Not every trauma yields visible gifts, but every survival alters your composition, leaving you richer in ways that may only become clear light years later. So the next time you feel the weight of the world compressing you, remember, neutron stars don't shine despite their density, they shine because of it. Light can't escape their surface, but they radiate in other wavelengths, X-rays, radio pulses, gravitational ripples. Your strength, too, might not look like you expect. It may not be cheerfulness or stoicism, but the quiet pulse of endurance, the gravitational pull that keeps others orbiting you when they're lost in the dark. The universe's toughest objects aren't brittle, they're relentless, and so are you. Interstellar travel isn't just about crossing physical distances, it's about confronting the boundaries of human imagination. Picture this, a spacecraft no larger than a coffee table, racing toward Proxima Centauri at a fifth the speed of light, propelled by nothing but the pressure of lasers fired from Earth. The Breakthrough Starshot initiative, backed by scientists like Stephen Hawking, isn't science fiction. It's a tangible expression of a truth as old as our species. We're wired to reach beyond what we know. But here's the paradox. To voyage outward, we must first voyage inward, exploring the psychological and philosophical frontiers that make such audacity possible. Consider the mental leap required to even conceive of interstellar travel. For most of history, the stars were static ornaments fixed in celestial spheres. Then came Copernicus, Galileo, and the dizzying realization that Earth wasn't the center of everything. Today, we face a similar cognitive threshold, grappling with timescales so vast they defy intuition. A one-way trip to Alpha Centauri would take decades, perhaps centuries. How do we reconcile our ephemeral lives with such glacial journeys? The answer lies in rewiring our sense of legacy. Ancient Egyptians built pyramids meant to outlast dynasties. Cathedral architects laid foundations knowing they'd never see the spires. Interstellar ambition demands that same long-now thinking, where the payoff isn't for us, but for a future we can barely envision. Yet time isn't the only frontier. Isolation in the void presents psychological hurdles that make Antarctic winters or submarine deployments seem trivial. Astronauts on the International Space Station have Earth glowing just below, a constant tether to home. But a crew bound for another star would watch Earth fade to invisibility within days, leaving them adrift in a featureless dark. Psychologists studying extreme environments note that humans need three things to endure prolonged isolation: purpose, autonomy, and connection. A generation ship wouldn't just need engineers, it would need poets, therapists, and storytellers to spin meaning from the abyss. The Polynesians who navigated the Pacific by starlight didn't just memorize waypoints, they wove constellations into myths that guided and comforted. Our starships will need similar narratives, reminding travelers that exploration isn't just about where you're going, but who you become along the way. Then there's the ethical weight of carrying life beyond our solar system. If we discover microbial life on Mars or Europa, do we have the right to risk contaminating other worlds with Earth's organisms? Conversely, if we find a potentially habitable exoplanet teeming with its own life, should we observe from afar or intervene? These questions force us to redefine stewardship at a cosmic scale. Indigenous cultures have long practiced protocols for entering sacred spaces, asking permission, leaving offerings, taking only what's given. Interstellar travel demands we develop similar protocols for the universe, recognizing that curiosity alone isn't license. The Voyager Golden Records, etched with greetings and music, modeled this humility, a message in a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean, not a declaration of ownership. The most profound frontier, though, may be rethinking what success even means. We romanticize planting flags and claiming worlds, but the universe operates on different terms. A successful interstellar mission might not look like a colony, but like a single microbe surviving in Enceladus ice, or data packets beamed back from a probe that self-destructs on arrival. Or even failure, a ship lost to the void, teaching us more about resilience than any triumphant landing. The Apollo program's real legacy wasn't moon rocks. It was the realization that Earth, seen whole from space, was fragile and irreplaceable. Similarly, reaching for the stars might ultimately teach us that the most alien frontier isn't out there, but reflected in the mirror, the infinite capacity of the human spirit to dream beyond its cradle. So before we build the engines, we must cultivate the minds and hearts capable of wielding them. Not just the brilliance to calculate trajectories, but the wisdom to ask why we're going. Not just the courage to face the dark, but the humility to recognize it might hold truths that reshape us. The stars aren't just destinations, they're mirrors showing us how vast we're capable of becoming. The universe should be buzzing with chatter, mathematically speaking. With billions of habitable planets in our galaxy alone, the cosmos ought to hum with the radio signals of civilizations far older and wiser than ours. And yet silence, not a whisper, not a blip. This eerie hush is the Fermi paradox, a cosmic riddle that's haunted scientists since Enrico Fermi first asked, "Where is everybody?" But this isn't just about aliens. It's a mirror held up to humanity's own relationship with uncertainty. Those moments when the universe refuses to cough up answers no matter how loudly we ask. Think about the last time you faced radio silence, when the job application vanished into the void, when the medical tests came back inconclusive, when the prayer or wish seemed to hit an indifferent sky. The Fermi paradox teaches us that absence of evidence isn't always evidence of absence. Astronomers have scanned only a fraction of a percent of the galaxy's stars for signals, akin to searching a single grain of sand on all Earth's beaches and declaring the ocean lifeless. Your unanswered questions operate the same way. Just because clarity hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it won't. The universe works on timescales that dwarf human impatience. A civilization 1,000 light years away could be broadcasting right now, and we wouldn't know for 10 centuries. Yet the paradox cuts deeper. One theory suggests advanced civilizations inevitably destroy themselves, whether through war, ecological collapse, or technologies gone rogue. It's the Great Filter hypothesis, a gauntlet of existential threats every intelligent species must survive. Suddenly, the silence isn't just puzzling, it's ominous. Are we listening to the graveyard of failed civilizations? This chilling possibility mirrors personal crossroads where one misstep could alter everything. The startup founder avoiding burnout, the couple navigating a make-or-break argument, they're facing their own great filters. Moments where resilience determines whether their story continues or joins the cosmic static. Then there's the zoo hypothesis, the idea that extraterrestrials deliberately avoid contact, observing us like animals in a galactic wildlife preserve. It sounds like sci-fi, but it echoes very human dynamics. Ever sensed someone withholding feedback to see how you'll react? Or noticed how toddlers learn best when adults don't intervene immediately? Strategic silence can be pedagogical. The universe's quiet might not be indifference but a form of respect, allowing us to stumble, grow, and claim our own place in the cosmos without shortcuts. But here's the twist: silence isn't empty. The void between stars crackles with cosmic microwave background radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang. What we perceive as absence is often a different frequency of presence. When your creative project stalls or your spiritual search feels one-sided, remember, lack of visible progress doesn't mean nothing's happening. Neurons rewire during sleep, seeds germinate underground, and sometimes the most profound shifts begin as silence. Perhaps the Fermi paradox's greatest gift is humility. For all our telescopes and algorithms, we still can't say whether we're alone or just haven't been introduced. That uncertainty is a masterclass in living with open questions. Farmers plant without guarantees of rain. Explorers set sail knowing they might find only horizon. You've done it too, loved someone without assurances, pursued a dream without proof it would work. Cosmic silence isn't a verdict. It's an invitation to keep listening, keep reaching, and maybe, just maybe, recognize that the search itself is where meaning thrives. After all, the universe didn't promise answers. It only promised wonder, and that it delivers in spades. As our journey through these 30 cosmic connections comes to a close, we're left with a revelation far more profound than simple stargazing could ever provide. The patterns we've traced from the spiral arms of galaxies to the firing of neurons, from the life cycles of stars to the rhythms of our own hearts, aren't just poetic coincidences. They're evidence of a fundamental truth. The universe didn't just create us, it continues through us. Every atom in your body once danced in the hearts of distant suns. Every thought you've ever had emerged from the same quantum principles that govern black holes and nebulas. You aren't separate from the cosmos, you're its most intimate expression. This realization carries both weight and wonder. On one hand, it's humbling to recognize how small we are against the backdrop of 13.8 billion years of cosmic history. Yet simultaneously, it's electrifying to understand how deeply we belong. When you feel the ache of loneliness under a starry sky, you're not an outsider looking in, your stardust recognizing itself. The same forces that sculpted the Grand Canyon and the rings of Saturn also shaped your capillaries and fingerprints. Your very existence is a continuation of the universe's oldest story, written in the language of gravity, chemistry, and light. So what do we do with this knowledge? Carry it gently, like the astronauts who described the overview effect, that life-altering shift in perspective when seeing Earth from space. They returned not with boasts of conquest, but with urgent messages about unity and fragility. The cosmic perspective does the same for all of us, grounding our daily struggles in something vaster while revealing their significance. That argument with a loved one, it's a rare alignment of conscious matter in an indifferent universe. The project you're pouring your soul into, it's the latest flicker of a chain of creativity stretching back to the first human who painted on a cave wall by firelight. Tonight, step outside. Let your eyes adjust to the dark. When you spot Polaris or the haze of the Milky Way, remember, you're not just observing the universe, you're its eyes, its voice, its way of making meaning from the void. The photons hitting your retina have traveled for years, decades, even millennia, only to find their journey's purpose in your moment of awe. That's the final cosmic connection. The universe designed you to witness itself, to ask questions, to feel the ache of beauty. Before you go, tell us in the comments which of these 30 threads resonated most deeply. Was it the quantum entanglement of human connection, or perhaps the way supernovas mirror personal transformation? Hit subscribe if you're ready for more expeditions to the edges of understanding where science and wonder meet. And remember, every time you look up, you're not just seeing the cosmos. You're remembering where you came from and glimpsing what you might yet